If someone had Sophie's looks in my game, that'd be the most famous player this league's ever seen.
Caitlin Clark just dropped a bombshell that had the entire WNBA buzzing. One line that left Sophie Cunningham stunned, and fans scrambling to figure out what it really meant. For years, Sophie's been called a wildcard, an agitator, an X factor you simply can't ignore. But when Caitlin, arguably the biggest name in women's basketball right now, finally spoke up about her, it wasn't trash talk. It wasn't hype. It was something far more surprising. What Caitlin said not only changed how people see Sophie Cunningham, but it may have revealed a deeper respect between two of the league's most talked about players. And once you hear it, you'll understand why this moment could shift everything. Sophie Cunningham has never been the type to blend into the background. She's not just another name on the roster, she's the spark plug, the livewire, the player who changes the atmosphere the moment she checks in. Teammates know it, rivals feel it, and fans can't help but notice it. Every time she steps on the floor, the rhythm of the game shifts. Suddenly, possessions feel tighter. The crowd leans in, and every bump, cut, and rotation carries more weight. That's Sophie's territory, not the calm, controlled stretches of basketball, but the moments where everything feels ready to explode. And it's in those chaotic stretches that she thrives. The kind of hustle plays that don't make highlight reels but completely flip the energy of a game. Closing out on a shooter, forcing a bad pass, diving on the floor, or barking out switches until the opponent finally cracks. It's exhausting, it's gritty, and it's exactly what makes Sophie Cunningham impossible to ignore. When your own teammates start vouching for you, that's when effort turns into trust. And nobody summed up Sophie Cunningham's value better than Kelsey Mitchell. She didn't dress it up or exaggerate. She just called it like it is. According to Kelsey, Sophie isn't random. She's the wild card. The piece that can flip momentum, change the tempo, or swing an entire quarter. And notice what Mitchell points to first. Not scoring, not highlights, but defense, hustle, and the willingness to grind through the ugly possessions. That's the heartbeat of any team, and Sophie provides it night after night. She doesn't just space the floor or hit a timely shot, she makes all the invisible plays before the ball even goes up. The second box out that denies an offensive rebound. The early switch call that saves a teammate from getting burned, the extra effort to contest a shot when everyone else is gassed, pair her with Lexi Hull, and suddenly you've got a duo that completely changes the flow of the game. While Lexi hunts shots and chases guards, Sophie crashes, slips screens, and locks down wings with relentless energy. Together they create chaos for opponents and rhythm for their team. And when your starting guard is standing up in front of the cameras and telling the world that you're the difference maker, that's not just praise, that's confirmation that you're the lever tilting the game. It's one thing for a teammate to praise your hustle. It's another when the message comes from the top. And that's exactly what Sophie Cunningham has earned. Coaches around the league don't waste words. They speak in code. Phrases like competes at a high level or embraces her role might sound like press conference filler to casual fans, but inside the game, those words carry serious weight. They're signals of trust, signals of minutes, and signals of value. Nate Tibbetts put it bluntly. Coming into the league as a second-round pick, Sophie had to bring toughness and grit if she wanted to stick. And she didn't just survive, she leaned into that role, made it her identity, and turned it into a weapon. That's why her coaches trust her with the minutes that matter. Stephanie White echoed the same thing. She didn't hesitate to call Sophie an X factor, pointing to her toughness, her versatility, and the way she raises the level of everyone around her. That's not hype. It's structure. It's recognition that the team doesn't function the same way without her. For Sophie, those words are more than compliments. They're validation. They prove that the bruises, the hard fouls, the endless defensive rotations don't go unnoticed. They prove she's not just another player filling space. She's the backbone of the system. And when a coach gives you that seal of approval, it doesn't just earn you respect. It secures your place in the game plan. Sophie Cunningham doesn't just play basketball, she plays on the edge. Every possession is a test of how far she can push the limits. She doesn't slip around screens, she runs straight through them. She doesn't just contest shots, she closes the gap until the shooter feels her breath. And if there's a loose ball, chances are Sophie's the one hitting the floor first, willing to absorb the contact that most players avoid. That kind of edge comes with a price. It means fouls, bruises, and plenty of heated exchanges. Opponents call it reckless. Teammates call it commitment. Coaches, they call it value. Because in the WNBA, toughness isn't just attitude, it's currency. The league rewards players who make the game harder for the opponent, and Sophie has turned that into her trademark. Her style forces reactions. Some players try to match her intensity, others get rattled and lose focus. Either way, she's dictating the terms of engagement, and that's exactly why she's so polarizing. To rivals, she's a headache. To her team, she's a safety net. She's the one willing to do the gritty, exhausting work that doesn't show up on highlight reels but changes the outcome of games. And when that relentless edge collides with stars who thrive on calm composure like Caitlin Clark, that's when the drama reaches its peak. When Sophie Cunningham's edge meets Caitlin Clark's composure, The collision is inevitable. Sophie thrives on pressure, bumping, chasing, and forcing opponents to feel her presence every second of the game. Her entire style is designed to make players uncomfortable, to shake their rhythm until they crack. But Caitlin Clark, she's built differently. Clark doesn't flinch. She doesn't take the bait. While Sophie brings fire, Caitlin brings ice. She absorbs the chaos and bends it into rhythm, turning hostile energy into fuel. That contrast, Cunningham's relentless edge against Clark's steady calm, creates one of the most fascinating dynamics in the league. The spark came when Sophie questioned a whistle against Clark, a moment that could have turned into a full-on feud. But instead of escalating, Caitlin's response was pure poise. She laughed it off, brushed aside the noise, and showed the kind of composure you'd expect from a 10-year veteran, not a rookie. That moment didn't just silence the tension, it highlighted the difference between the two. Sophie pushes you to crack. Caitlin refuses to, and yet that clash didn't divide them. It connected them. Because beneath the bumping, the battles, and the competitive fire, Caitlin Clark made it clear with one shocking statement that she respects what Sophie brings, and that single line left the entire league stunned. If there's one thing that separates role players from true impact players, it's the way their peers talk about them. And when negativity started bubbling around Sophie Cunningham during All-Star Weekend, the response from inside the league spoke volumes. Courtney Williams didn't hesitate. She jumped straight into the live chat and shut it all down. Anybody got something negative to say about Sophie? Timeout. Straight up. We not playing that. No negative energy. That wasn't just a casual defense, it was a public statement from a respected veteran. It sent two powerful messages at once. First, Sophie isn't standing alone. She's got allies across the league ready to defend her when the chatter gets ugly. Second, the WNBA still runs like a family, and in that family there are rules. You can go to war on the court, but off it, you protect your own. That kind of backing matters. It means Sophie's intensity, her constant jawing, her physicality, her ability to get under opponents' skin, isn't seen as reckless inside the locker room. It's seen as part of the culture, part of what makes teams tougher and more connected. And when respected voices step up to say, "She's one of us," it turns a polarizing figure into someone you know the league values. But what really cemented Sophie's role wasn't just the backing of teammates, it was the way her style of play tapped into an unwritten code, one that every player in the league understands. Don't get punked. In the WNBA, there's a code every player knows, even if it's never written down. Don't get punked. Natasha Heidemann said it loud and clear. When Sophie Cunningham grabbed an opponent a little too aggressively, the debate online exploded. Was it dirty or just tough defense? But inside the league, the reaction was simple. You can't let that slide. You can't look weak. And that's exactly the line Sophie Cunningham lives on. The razor's edge where toughness meets controversy. To some, it's unnecessary contact. To others, it's survival. Role players don't last long in this league unless they find a way to stand out. For Sophie, her toughness is her currency. She buys her minutes with grit, with collisions, with the kind of relentless energy that forces coaches to keep her on the floor. That edge creates ripple effects. A hard foul fires up the bench. That energy wakes up the crowd, and suddenly, one player's effort has shifted the momentum of an entire game. That's why, even when her methods are questioned, her intent isn't. Teammates see someone willing to absorb the hits so they don't have to. Coaches see a competitor who embraces the grind no one else wants. And the truth is, this code doesn't just build reputations, it builds trust. You may love Sophie's style or hate it, but if she's on your team, you know one thing for sure, she won't let you get punked. But the real turning point came when Caitlin Clark herself acknowledged that toughness, not as an annoyance, but as protection. Sometimes all it takes is one word to change the narrative. And for Sophie Cunningham, that word came from Caitlin Clark. After one of the most heated moments of Indiana's season, when Sophie stepped into the fire and absorbed the chaos, Caitlin didn't give a long explanation. She didn't break down film or hide behind cliches. She simply looked at her teammate and said, "Finally." That single word said it all. Finally, someone else had her back. Finally, someone else was willing to take the hits, the whistles, and the constant physicality that Caitlin faces every night. For a rookie phenom who carries the weight of an entire franchise, that kind of support isn't just appreciated, it's a relief. And it reframed Sophie's role completely. What once looked like random edge or reckless energy was suddenly seen for what it truly was: deliberate protection. Not chaos, but cover. Not just toughness, but loyalty. Caitlin's seal of approval turned Sophie from an agitator into an ally, from a spark plug into a shield, and the ripple effect was immediate. When your franchise star publicly validates a teammate, the whole locker room hears it. Teammates play harder, coaches double down, opponents rethink how they approach her. That one word, finally, didn't just validate Sophie's role, it elevated it. From that moment forward, Sophie Cunningham wasn't just the wild card. She was the protector. And in a league where reputations shape careers, Caitlin Clark's endorsement might have been the most powerful moment of Sophie's season. Sophie Cunningham may never lead the league in points, but she doesn't need to. Her value isn't measured in box scores, it's measured in the reactions she draws from everyone around her. Teammates call her an X factor, coaches call her tough, opponents call her a handful, and Caitlin Clark, she called her a protector. That's the paradox of Sophie Cunningham. She's a role player who refuses to be invisible, a grinder who makes the game feel personal, and a lightning rod who turns chaos into connection. For some, she's the agitator who stirs the fire. For others, she's the shield that absorbs it. But no matter where you stand, one thing is clear. You notice her. And in a league fighting for every ounce of attention, being unforgettable might just be the most powerful role of all.